All right. Well, welcome everybody to our call tonight. Why you need these drops. My name is Michele McCay, and I'm from Oxford, Mississippi. And I am a nurse of 35 years. And you might think that I would share with you clinically why you need these drops, but I'm going to let Todd and Cynthia do that part. I want to share with you personally why I want you on these drops. So I've had brain fog for over 14 years, one level or another. It started out with just, hey, I walked in a room and said, wonder what I came in this room for. I'm not sure. And it went all the way to driving and not knowing where I was going. And that was after Wellbutrin for ADD and hormone replacement therapy that should have taken care of the brain fog, but it didn't. So I started a product that Cynthia Bolden suggested for me, and then the hormone balancing drops. And after 15 years of fighting with brain fog, I no longer have brain fog. But why brain fog is so significant to me? My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 55 and died at 62. And y'all, a lot of my symptoms with brain fog was very similar to what she experienced. So you can imagine, I was devastated. I was not about to have Alzheimer's, and I was going to find a way to get past it and to get past the brain fog and to fight all the odds. And I believe that I have. I know that I have. So we know that these drops help correct insulin resistance, and insulin resistance, we're told by leading researchers, is one of the leading causes of Alzheimer's, insulin resistance in the brain. So if these drops correct the insulin resistance, I want them in every body that we can possibly get them into, because insulin resistance is the precursor to a lot of other diseases and not just Alzheimer's. So I want these drops in the hands of millions. So that's my personal testimony. But I want you to hear from Todd Rowland tonight. Todd is one of our top leaders in PartnerCo, and he has a master's in nutrition, and I believe he is one of the most educated experts on our products that there is, other than Cynthia Bolden, maybe a couple of others. So I am so thankful to have Todd on the call with us tonight. Whether you are a customer or a brand partner, we want you to have the greatest success on these products, because I truly believe if you have success on these products and you get your life back and you have the greatest quality of life that you can have, you're going to want to share it with somebody else. So Todd, take it away and tell us why you think we need these drops.
Yeah, we all need these drops. I was just sitting here taking them before we started, and I always, say that I think we all know what we should and should not eat, but having a little extra discipline in our body where we don't have to be the one to make the hard decision every single time food is put in front of us that we know we shouldn't put in our body, which, believe it or not, is upwards of 10 times a day. You're offered a donut, you drive by the coffee shop, you see a commercial on TV, you stop to get gas and you run in the gas station, you realize there is nothing in the gas station that's healthy for you, in most 98% of them. So it's like this constant temptation of the food industry just bombarding us with products that have extra sugar put into them, would be the easiest way to put it, not to include all the food colors, additives, artificial sweeteners, other things that have been put in. But believe it or not, saying no is not easy. Sugar is an addiction. According to the lady who wrote Bright Line Eating, she's one of the leading neurologists in the world, and she wrote that book, Bright Line Eating, simply because she could not figure out why otherwise highly disciplined, motivated people could not lose weight. They just kept succumbing to their temptation. And I found the same thing in my own body, although I've got all the science in my brain. It's a passion of mine, just like it is Cynthia. We've lived it our entire life. It's not just like a degree we got 30 years ago. This is what we do every day. But still, when you get sugar elevated and insulin comes and pulls it down, it very seldom pulls it down to baseline. It pulls it below baseline. And when you pull blood sugar below baseline, you better have some crazy amounts of discipline to keep from reaching for something to pull it back up, because you're going to feel lethargic, sleepy, tired. We all know that feeling. We get it in mid-morning when we have whatever we have we know we shouldn't. At lunch, when we fill up with a bunch of simple carbs, we get that feeling. So the main reason the drops are of the utmost importance is they really build in an extra line of defense. They help stabilize the pancreas and the blood sugar, especially if you'll eat from the approved food list, which is a low glycemic food index. It helps to bring the thyroid into balance. And Michelle and Cynthia, we all know how many women suffer from a low thyroid. Many women now, even with Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune disease for the low thyroid, that makes it even more complicated to lose weight. So many women of middle age, whatever the terminology we want to use there, let's just say from 30 to 60, somewhere in that range, are dealing with some hormones out of balance in one direction or the other. Getting all of those things back in some type of normal range just makes the daily process of losing weight, feeling good, having energy so important. And then, Michelle, the last thing I'll say, and I'll turn it to Cynthia and we can kind of bounce off each other on some of the science of why these drops work so well. But you nailed it, that Alzheimer's now, a lot of leading doctors out there, this is not our company saying this. I'm for sure not saying it. This is, I'm not a research scientist. I get my data from research scientists that I follow all the time. So I'm not the one doing the science work. I want to make that clear. But there are so many doctors out there now. You can find them yourself if you'll go Google it, calling Alzheimer's dementia type 3 diabetes, and that one of the number one trigger mechanisms for that is elevated blood sugar over a period of time. And I shared this on a Zoom, but I did a meeting in a heart doctor's living room in Jackson, Mississippi about 2 weeks ago. He's got a special procedure he does for aortic stenosis when that valve goes bad. And I sat in his living room without knowing this doctor very well, what our doctor, top doctor, says, Dr. Strand, and that is if you have elevated blood sugar over an extended period of time, that all-cause mortality is going to be elevated, according to Dr. Strand, upwards of 25-fold. According to almost every doctor you can find out there online, they'll say up to 10-fold. But I also said that so that means you're 10 times more likely to have a heart attack, 10 times more likely to develop some form of cancer if you have elevated blood sugar for a period of time. So that's probably the number one thing a human being could do is monitor that, eat a low glycemic food index like our approved food list makes you do if you follow it correctly, and keep that blood sugar level. But what this doctor told me after the meeting was, because I asked him, I said, I'm in your living room. I don't want to offend you. I just want to know what you think about all of this. And he says it's more. I also said in the living room that night that Dr. Strand said about 70% of Americans walking around with elevated blood sugar, called metabolic syndrome or insulin insensitivity. And this particular doctor that night said, no, it's more. He said it's upwards of 80%. But here was the most astonishing thing he told me. He said 100% of the adults, he said there are some hereditary issues with children, but he said 100% of the adults that end up on his operating table have elevated blood sugar. He didn't say 99.9. He said 100% of them do. So weight loss is a humongous side effect of giving our bodies the best chance to live a long, healthy life, which I think is what we really all want. We want to sleep good. We want to have energy throughout the day. We want to feel good. And in the decade that I've been able to be around these drops, I've never seen anything quite as effective. I've seen other things. I can't say there's nothing I've ever seen not work, but nothing on the level of these drops. They work for so many people. Do they work for 100% of people? No. But I honestly think it's probably because they don't take them right, or they don't follow the approved food list. Because I don't know anybody on a personal level that takes the drops 3 times per day, leaves them under the tongue the amount of time they're supposed to, and eats from the approved food list, doesn't get their body really close to where they want it to be. And not just weight-wise. I'm talking about when they go to the doctor and get blood work done on the lifestyle issues, the triglycerides, the bad cholesterol, the high blood pressure, the elevated glucose levels, the fasting glucose levels, the elevated A1C levels. We see all those normalize, and we see them normalize very, very quickly when they follow our program. It's really, really exciting and fun to watch. So I'm just an advocate like you that millions and millions of people are waiting on us to get these drops in their hands, Michelle.
Yes. Yes, no doubt. I believe that with all my heart. and I know that they need it. And that's why we have the greatest passion to get more and more people on the drops. And y'all, it says that our meeting is maxed out. I apologize. I pay the max amount for Zoom. So if anybody has any suggestions on how to get it up, I didn't check on that before because I had no idea how many would be on. I apologize. But for those of those who cannot get on while Cynthia's talking, I'm going to try to go through settings and get it up to where we can get more people in. But Cynthia, would love to hear what you have to say on top of what Todd said. I just think it's so important that we get these drops in the hands of millions. And what you said about the cardiologist and in surgery, I mean, that's one more thing for us to learn. I mean, there's no doubt everybody that has a major disease in their life has insulin resistance.
All right. Well, hello to everyone. I am Cynthia Bolden, and I've been working in the field of nutrition for about over 30 years, right at 31 now. And Michelle, thank you for having me. And I'm super excited about being next to Todd Rowland. Todd, that was absolutely positively awesome. And what I wanted to say, you come to these platforms and your heart, I'm just like Michelle, just like Todd, getting these drops in the hands of millions, but why? Why is that so important? And what I wanted to bounce off a little tonight is mindset on why. And what I mean by that, Todd has done a phenomenal job talking about science and just what he said about the doctors and what they're saying. And it is so true because a dream for me is really come true. After working in nutrition, you're going to hear a lot of things. You're going to hear people come with no hope and they're disappointed. And most times a person in the past could come to my office or come and have questions about weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. Well, in the past, we was taught, I knew it had something to do with insulin resistant, syndrome X, all of these things that metabolic dysfunction, metabolic syndrome. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but I didn't have anything. I had things to help work with their digestive system, things that would help them, with their food, but they wanted it what? Now. And so I kind of backed away from weight loss. I didn't work in it much at all because I saw the emotional attachment to it, and I just didn't work with it until the drops came along. So why do you need the drops? You need the drops, and the drops need you. And that's the way we should look at it. And this is what I want to say to help you and to help all of us. They are known as liquid discipline. Todd told us what bottle 1 does, bottle 2. In other words, how they come in balance, the thyroid, the pancreas goes for fat storage, that hard fat storage that's been there. But this is what I want you to think. When it comes to the food, here's some of the questions. Do I have to do the diet? Do I have to take the drops like it say? The questions go on and on and on. But let's just make it fun and let's make it let's get those questions answered. When a belief is there to do it, the product is going to deliver. See, that's the first thing. The product will deliver. So sometimes that past thinking, and the past thinking is, well, I can't have cookies. I can't. And I like Todd said this best. He's been saying this a lot. Todd, you know how you were saying that all diets are alike? They all require no donuts, candy, no junk food. Because basically, that's it, right, Todd?
Every diet that works is identical. They all have to eliminate the same thing.
There you go. That is like that. That's a no. Hey, that needs to be in writing on a t-shirt, Todd. But here's the deal. How do we push through? How do we really kind of have our belief system with, it comes about trust. The product's going to deliver. So if the products are delivering and they will, then they're going to help me do my food plan, the approved food list. That's a way to think of it. So as the body adjust, remember, people ask, well, how long will it take? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? That's like the magic question. The thing is, get so excited tonight on this call with knowing this. your body knows exactly what to do when you give it what it's supposed to have. Do you know your body will go and do repair work for you from a cellular standpoint? And once it does that, it reaches layer after layer from cells to tissues,
You
from
don't have to,
tissues
but
to
I'm
the
listening to
organ,
it.
and then from the organs to the body systems, and then from the body systems to the body. So look at it this way. I kind of told my husband this the other day. If we don't worry, think of this. Here's a little scenario to help you kind of think. If you go to your physician and he gives you something for a particular something for a short time, your thought is, this is going to make me feel better. Okay. That's the thought. But it's interesting when it comes to supplements, the thought is not as strong sometimes. So if I'm taking something with a belief that it's going to help me, then I'm not worried about it. So when you think of the drops, one thing, as you think of how long, when, use them and let your body tell you. And I'm a firm believer in how good can you really feel. So when you take them, remember, products will deliver. The approved food list, like Todd just said, the reason the approved food list can be easier because the drops offer the discipline so you don't have the cravings. And then, of course, Dr. Strand mentions, following some exercise, drink your water, make sure that water is up. And then share your testimony, share your wins. Do not despise small beginnings. A win, I do feel better. I did sleep better. My finger doesn't hurt like it did before. Wow, my elbow is better. One lady told me her feet, she takes the drops just so her feet won't hurt. Do you really believe I went and sold somebody drops so their feet wouldn't
Well,
hurt?
Cynthia, there's one of the ingredients, one of the homeopathic ingredients in there is for nerve ending damage, which a lot of times causes
Yes,
pin tight needle feelings in the feet. So we get that actually a lot.
that is so awesome. And I mean, she went to see her cardiologist and he asked her, so she's 70 years old, and he asked, how are you doing today? She said she paused and she looked at him and she said, for the first time in my life, I'm able to look at you and say, I feel good. Wasn't that awesome? So yeah, so take the drops.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
I
Michelle, we
love
didn't mention the second bottle. I just want to mention it real quick. The second bottle is the reddish one, but this has got the good form of B12
Right.
in it, the methylated form, which has overwhelming science out there now on B12. Again, this is not a product claim from our company at all. We make no claims at all. This is just go do your own investigation on the good form of B12, which is the methylated form, which you're going to find in very few places. You'll notice when you go to your normal Walgreens or Walmart, it'll all be cyanocolabine, which is the other form of B12 that's not even good for you, much less, I wouldn't even want to put it in my body. Sinus stands for stands for cyanide. So I don't think most people would want to put that in their body if they did their research. And that's what people are buying in the name of nutrition. It's a crazy world out there. But the methylated form of B12 helps. The research is showing it really, really helps with anxiety and depression. And I think that's one of the reasons that we get, and this does not work for 100% of the people the same way, but we do get a lot of people dealing with those symptoms that feel better immediately on the drops. That's probably one of the reasons why, is that they had really low levels of B12 and we're helping to rise B12 levels. But it does also have ashwagandha in there, which in the Eastern world is called the mood food, which they take over there in the Eastern world for the exact same thing, for the anxiety, for the stress. Cynthia, I know you sell ashwagandha at your nutrition store there on the square in Mississippi. I've been buying it for years. It also helps raise testosterone in men. Great, great product. It's also got rhodiola in the second bottle, which limits cortisol secretion. And cortisol, just like insulin, is our enemy. Both insulin and cortisol are storage hormones. And cortisol is a stress hormone. And in 2024, you're releasing it. It's just part of life in today's world. We all live in a very busy, stressful life. And you want to limit as much of that secretion as you can. And the rhodiola helps with that. It's the reason that we say the one person that shouldn't take the drops is a pregnant or nursing mama, because that baby does need the cortisol so the baby can gain weight and grow. But it's also got biotin, other things in there. It's just a great, great product. The directions say only take it twice a day. I tell people to take it 3 times a day, unless it's keeping you up at night. There's enough in there for 3 times a day. The reason it got moved to twice a day is because B12 will sometimes keep people that are sensitive to it awake at night. So either do all 3 earlier in the day, if you are sensitive to it, or do it 3 times a day and just find out if you are. Some people, it doesn't. I say 80% of people, they want them to know they took it. I take it before I go to bed.
Yeah. Todd, we have a question that keeps coming up. Would you address when people say they are allergic to ashwagandha, this allergic reaction? How would you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't account for, 4 billion people's allergies, nor
Right.
can anybody. So, this is a homeopathic formula, meaning
Right.
there's not huge amounts of anything in these bottles. That's what homeopathic means. It means
Right.
microdose. So it's not like coming to your store and buying ashwagandha as a man trying to raise my testosterone. I would need more ashwagandha to do that.
Right.
Would that generally be what I'd be more aware of if I had an allergy? I don't think this would bother them, but I would definitely want to, put it on the tip of my tongue and kind of see. I wouldn't, go all in. But generally speaking, allergies is not anything I've ever heard with the drops. The things you're gonna hear with the drops is rashes, because the clear bottle helps to detoxify. And boy, do we have a lot of toxins in our body. And where do the toxins like to come out? They like to come out of our sweat pores. And what do most people not do? Sweat enough, especially women. What do most people not do? Drink enough water. So you will see some red splotching, some red rashes when those toxins try to get out, and can't. Up water in tank, deal with it for a day or two, and be thankful they're trying to get out of your body and set you free. Half your body weight in ounces is part of the, like I said, we got to follow the instructions if we want maximum results. Instructions are drink water. Half your body weight in ounces is the minimum of water you drink. There is no such thing as a healthy liquid sugar. They all are bad for you. Apple juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, sweet tea, Gatorade, Powerade. They're all lethal in the human body. They are a root cause of almost every bad thing we don't want. They're the precursor for it, creating the metabolic syndrome, eventually prediabetes, and eventually the diabetes. But those things can change in the right direction with reversal of the way we eat. So the last thing I'll mention, because you mentioned the approved food list. I had a lady say this one time on a Zoom not that long ago. She said, like, well, when can we go back to eating normal? And I'm very forefront with people. I like, what is normal? This approved food list is every vegetable known to mankind. It's every living animal that you would like to eat. I mean, who doesn't like steak and chicken and shrimp and all those good things? Like, it's all there. The only meat that's not listed is pork. You can have it. It will not make you gain weight. The reason pork's not on there, both biblically and scientifically, pork is just not good for the human body. But you can have it if your heart desires it. I can't say that I never have a rib or anything like that. That's not a bad cheat because we're not spiking insulin. The other thing that people do get a little upset about is the no dairy. So again, keto allowed cheese. I'm not the cheese mafia. I don't think that's the worst cheat you could have, but I will tell you that dairy is the number one hormone disruptor on planet Earth. So if you're a woman and your hormones are off, you got to get rid of dairy, or you got to quit complaining, but you can't do both because the science is overwhelming what dairy is doing to women's hormones.
Yes. Well, thanks for answering that. That's the way I answered it, and I'm just so glad it came up. So I'll close, but I'll say this and then back to you, Michelle, is that was so well put. And just remember, give the body the chance to do what it needs to do. And not thinking so quick that the drops did something. It's the body, it's the stored toxins, and we can't go around and say what's in somebody's cell, right? But just know that that's the kind of power we have, that the body is really that intelligent, and it's going to do what it's supposed to do, protect us, and then at the same time, it will eliminate what it needs to eliminate. So I just think that's awesome. I'm with Todd. A little light cleansing is not a problem. It's not. But as far as it doing any more than that, I couldn't necessarily put it on the drops because of just the minute dosage that's there to bring the body in balance. So I just say, let's get these drops in the hands of millions, because they are one product that I can truly say in all my years of practice, it has been really fun to see the testimonies and people's labs and blood work. And remember, it's not just a catch of saying how good can you really feel. The drops really prove that out. Because if you notice, it's better and better and better. And that's when you know you have something good on your hand, because life begat life. In other words, putting good in, you'll keep getting good out. Thank you, Michele.
Absolutely. Well, that was amazing, y'all. I just hate that we maxed out, or I thought I was totally prepared for a lot more. So Todd and Cynthia, y'all have got to agree to be on with us another time, because I offered this to the whole company. So I'm so sorry that we maxed out at 100. But guess what? That 100, we know that we have touched some lives tonight. If you have been on the drops and have not been successful, or have not gotten the results that you want, I think you heard from two of the best just now that are sharing with you why you need these drops, and why we want more and more people to get exposed to the drops. So because we maxed out, Todd and Cynthia, if you have a few more minutes, can we open it up for questions? Does anybody, I know a lot of times when we're recording, and I want to keep the recording on so we can cover any questions. Can we take just a few questions? Do y'all have time for a few?
Sure.
Does anybody have a question? Unmute yourself and ask. Do not be shy. Or if you want to put it in the chat and I ask, I'll be glad to.
I'll ask a question.
Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay.
Crystal.
I have a couple of people that have asked me about they're highly allergic to shellfish. And I didn't even know there was shellfish in the drops. But I guess that falls under the same thing with being allergic to whatever the other lady was allergic to. Is there a big difference? I mean, is it going to make a big difference? How much shellfish is really in it, I guess?
Yes. So I've been around the drops for a really long time, because I was with the company that Partner Co. brought that had the drops, which means I've now been working with the drops a decade. I have seen zero shellfish allergic reactions to the drops. That does not mean there couldn't be one. Like, I can never make a promise, because everybody's body is definitely different and everybody's allergies are different. But no, there's a very microscopic amount. I do not think it would affect anyone. But again, if they do, tell them to touch it to their tongue. They'll know. But again, the drop, everybody can't. Everybody's not going to take everything. So I'm not trying to push this on anyone that feels like they shouldn't take it. I'm not here to talk them into it. Everybody can't be our customer. It's okay. There's plenty of people out there looking that don't have whatever allergy that they might be concerned about. So I would never want to override somebody's own concern.
Right.
Thank you, Todd.
There's a question, Todd and Cynthia. What if your body doesn't absorb B12? If you have MTHFR, I don't know what she's saying, maybe methylated, do you take methyl CPG or anything else along with the drops to help absorb the B12?
That's a very loaded question there. I'm not even going to answer that. I don't know. That would be that would be talk to your doctor. I'm not.
I think so too.
One.
That's something to take to your doctor.
Yeah.
And then the next question is, does dairy mess with men's hormones as well as women's hormones?
Our hormones are always perfect, Michele. We're good. Yeah. So, I tell you, the number one cause of a man's low testosterone, and we have an epidemic of low testosterone in America today, is elevated blood sugar. That's the reason the drops are not my favorite product. I'll be honest with you. There's about 5 or 6 products that I cannot live without, but they are the number one product that I talk about, because the killing epidemic of the world today is sugar. Sugar is worse than cigarettes. It is a killer. It is in everything that we eat. The food industry has got it all over the place, from our tomato sauce to our ketchup to our A1 sauce. It's in everything. And every fast food joint multiplies it up, plus puts in the bad saturated oils. We are being killed daily by the food we consume. And whether people want to admit it or not, if you don't want to shorten your life, you want to live the healthiest, longest you were supposed to live, you got to get off of it. And the drops are the easiest, best way. I know all this. This is part of my heartbeat, but it still requires a daily decision at least 10 times. It's not like I'm going to wake up today and decide to quit eating sugar, because tomorrow you're going to get tempted every time you spin around. You're eating lunch with somebody. It's a glass of wine. It's a cookie. I mean, it's just, and is any one of those things deadly? No, but it's the accumulation over time that just compounds in our body. So so going back, that question was about men's hormones. The reason men have low testosterone, the number one reason is low blood sugar, lack of exercise. Sedentary people that eat sugar are going to have totally disrupted hormones, both male and female.
Right.
Yeah. And did you mean high blood sugar?
Yeah, I mean high blood sugar. I said high blood sugar. I said that wrong. They're going to have high blood sugar.
High blood sugar.
And along the same lines, I'm sure they didn't want to ask it out loud, and I'm going to be brave. Weird question from a BP. Does anyone know if the drops help raise sperm count?
Here's what I can tell you, and this is anecdotal, meaning I have no science behind it. But we've had now about 7 or 8 couples in the last 2 years get pregnant. And I'm not sure which one was having trouble, but they were having trouble as a couple getting pregnant. Yeah. And
I can address that too.
So, but I don't know that it actually helping sperm count. But one thing I do know for sure is that, because women do say this a lot of times in meetings I'm in, and that is cycles normalize. Easier for me to hear than somebody saying I counted my sperm. That's a hard way to quantify on a daily basis.
Same here. I just want to say we've had a couple of clients, male clients, that there were some problems there. Been on the drops for a couple of months, totally different, knocked it out the park, and we got some babies coming, and and things are well. And the only thing they changed was the drop.
And so
I would have to think, inflammation down, blood flow rate. I mean, all of that, because oxygen.
Yeah. So this doesn't have anything directly to do with sperm count, but it does have a lot to do with erectile dysfunction. And that is, erectile dysfunction is a bad product of elevated blood sugar, because those arteries are getting restricted. So if I have that going on, just know that all of our arterial systems connected together. So I also have heart problems. Like, it's all runs in the same family.
That's right.
So this is for Cynthia and I, and I know you now too, Michelle, with your mom passing away of Alzheimer's. Like, this is not just a business or not a box of drops.
Right.
This is a mission in life. I'm just glad I've got the box of drops to go along with it now, because it's a problem out here with family, with friends. I mean, we see it every day. And I'm at the age now that people that I went to high school with are starting to die of heart attacks, and we're too young in our 50s to be doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want the best quality of life, is what I tell people, this is the start right here, right here. Okay. We have a hand up, iPad 4. Go ahead. And there you go.
Hi. I just got through with 2 years of cancer, and it was hormone-driven cancer. So I am now on a hormone blocker. I hear a lot about regulating hormones with these drops. The whole reason why I'm on the hormone blocker is to prevent me from getting cancer again.
Yeah. So every single person, I mean, this one's easy. If the person's had cancer or have been to a cardiologist, like, you cannot take these products until you go run them by your doctor. They need to sign off on them. And they do 99% of the time, but you might be the one they don't. So that's a doctor question, not us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here, like Michelle, Cynthia, and I, we're here for prevention mode. We don't want you having cancer. Once you get it, you're in a whole nother realm, and it's not a good realm to be in. And you don't want to return there if you got it in remission. So ask that doctor what they think.
And just so you know, I'm sorry I don't have the name, but we have a lot of patients that have been on estrogen receptor, they've been on, have estrogen receptive breast cancer. So they're on hormone blockers. We've had a lot of people on the drops, but that means their doctor has released them to take the drops, and they have had great results because of the chemo and all the treatment they've had. They feel awful, and then the drops help balance all the other hormones, so they're feeling amazing. So
I was just in Arkansas with a pastor and his wife a couple of weeks ago, and I cannot remember her name, but I just know that she just beat breast cancer when I met her. They got on the products. They immediately took them to her doctor. They took MOA and skinny drops to the doctor. The doctor said, not only can you take both, I think it'll be a good idea to take both. So she started them. Well, she's down 40 pounds now. And I was just back over there about a week ago. And every single blood marker that the doctor looked at has improved significantly since she started her journey with us. And that story repeats itself a lot, but you still got to check because obviously there's a million different kind of cancers and every one a little different. So you got to still check with your own doctor.
Absolutely. So get with the person who introduced you to the drops and let them send you the ingredient list. And that way you can take that to your doctor and then get back with us and let us know if she approves, because we sure hope they do. We've got another hand raised, iPhone 6. Make sure you unmute.
That might be me. I was gonna ask, my grandmother is 87 and I got her on the drops and she is saying that she doesn't feel a difference. She's been on them maybe 3 weeks. So I was gonna ask, do you think increasing, because she's taking the drops, Renew, Rejuvenate, and there's a brain one and something else. And I was wondering if maybe she should increase her drops or something. Because she's also wanting to fight off dementia and Alzheimer's because it runs in our family. So I was wondering if maybe increasing it would help.
Yeah. So, you're asking a couple of different questions there. So number one, kudos to your grandmother for taking nutrition because putting good things in our body bring good results. Number two, she is 87. The needle's going to move slowly on an 87-year-old body. So she may be 60 days on the drop before she notices the big difference. But and then the third question, which was completely independent about the Alzheimer's dementia, you don't know what you don't know. What I mean is that if I'm not taking it and I develop it, and then if I am taking it, I never develop it, would I have developed it or not? I'm just one of those people. I'm a nutrition minded person. I want to be 100 years old and never have had cancer or heart attack or whatever. Maybe die swimming in the ocean. I don't know how that death comes, but I don't want to go through those life crises that are self-induced because of all the bad decisions I made at a table repeatedly over time. I am not going to pull my gasoline car into the gas station and put diesel in it no more. That decision was made in my mind a while back and I'm sticking to it, and the drops help me stick to it. So the same now with your grandmother. Grandmother is 87. She's making a decision to be healthy. So if Alzheimer's and that stuff never shows up now, maybe she wouldn't have gotten it anyway. But this is one more tool belt in one more tool in the tool belt to keep that from happening.
My mom on that. Oh, I'm sorry, you go on.
No, I was gonna say she's already had symptoms of dementia, so she's been trying to use things naturally to fight it, and that's why I recommended it. But like you said, she's been 87, no cancer, no stroke, no heart attack. She just wants to stay on the healthy train. Okay. And so I was just like, I just want her to keep going, but she seems like she's getting a little discouraged, and I just want her to keep going.
No, kudos to her. It's hard to measure on an 87-year-old body in 3 weeks. It just is. Those cells are just not moving at the same pace as the 37-year-old body cells are moving. So all good. But I tell you, if she does have symptoms, my favorite product for somebody with actual symptoms currently would be our CoQ10. BioPro-Q is a real miracle product. You can do your own research there, CoQ10 and Alzheimer's.
Is that one of those supplements like the green bottle, blue? Which one is that?
Yeah, it's not liquid. It is actually part of the Nutrify line. So it'll come in a little bottle. It's kind of orange. It'll say BioPro-Q. It's not very expensive, maybe $40-something for a month's supply.
Okay. I'll look into that one.
Awesome. Well, y'all, those were some amazing questions. I'm going to cut it off right there because I think we're at a good stopping point. And what I want to end with is I think you see the passion of all of us and why we want these drops in the hands of millions. So get back to the person who brought you on this call. If you are a customer, we certainly don't want you to continue paying retail on these drops. Okay. So we have some options to get these products at wholesale because just like Todd and Cynthia talked about, It just starts with the drops. There's a lot more other products, right? So if you are on other products and need other products in your body, you're going to want them at the greatest discount. So get back to the person who brought you on this call. We want you to get them at the greatest discount. And then our hope is that you're going to feel amazing in your body, and then you're going to share it with more and more people and help us get them in the hands of millions. Y'all have an amazing night. I'm sorry.
Can we get this recording? Because me and my friend have a few people who would love to watch this. Is there a way we can get this recording?
Absolutely. I'll be posting the recording. Anthony Moreland will be putting it on his YouTube channel, and then we'll have it in a lot of places. And I promise we'll get Todd and Cynthia back, and we'll be able to max out these lines, because I feel like we would have had a lot more people on this call, and I apologize for me not knowing that it wasn't maxed out, even though I pay the max subscription. So Zoom will be hearing from me tomorrow, and we'll be able to max it out next time. But thank y'all for being on, and I appreciate, like I said, get back to the person who brought you to this call to make sure you're getting the best discount for these products, and let's get them in the hands of millions. Y'all have a great night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.